Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani and I welcome in this daily Hindu analysis video. In the morning these videos come, in the evening the PIB analysis videos they come. You both in Hindi and English language you get these lessons. And 26th of May it is, and I told you this is the Sunday session and totally prelims oriented session this is gonna be. Till the 2nd of June we are taking these lessons in this way so that there can be maximum help for the UPSC aspirants who are appearing on 2nd of June. So let's start without wasting any time. And these are the numbers there you can call and you can ask for these pendrive courses by StudyIQ. And this is the StudyIQ's website address where all these courses are available at 60% off, and you can inquire about all of them. 60% off is also going on. Now, a very important question of non-banking financial companies. You see, this year this issue was very much highlighted, and NBFCs are going through a lot of stress. They are finding it very difficult to counter the liquidity issue, and liquidity crisis is the major thing which is there after the ILFS crisis. NBFCs are struggling a lot, and many issues are there in this year regarding NBFCs. So certainly they will ask you some question about NBFCs. You see, these are deposit taking or maybe non-deposit taking companies regulated by RBI, and specific regulations are there. And you see, they are different from mainstream banking in a way that some restrictions are there on NBFCs. They cannot take time deposits and all, and NBFCs mainly are for specific areas, so that there is a proper categorization of NBFCs also. Okay, so you see, the asset size of 100 crore or more, if there is the case with the NBFCs, then these will be called systematically important NBFCs. Okay, and which are non-deposit taking NBFCs, they will be denoted as NBFCs NDSI, non-deposit taking. Okay, so these are two broad categories, and there are other specific categories. Like one type of NBFC is asset financing companies. They are only financing the machineries, automobiles, generators, material equipments, and all these assets, as we can call it. So asset finance company, there is the main business of it. So they finance these things. Next, investment company who deal in securities, like in share market, people invest in these shares and all these security instruments and all. So if that money is made available by any NBFC, then it is called investment company NBFC. Loan companies, other than the assets, if they are giving money for working capital finances and all, then these are called loan companies. Infrastructure finance companies, mainly for the infrastructure areas. And you see, net owned funds of at least 300 crore rupees. So 300 crore rupees is the limit for infrastructural NBFCs. One is core investment company, CIC, and non-deposit taking systematically important NBFC. Here the assets would be more than 100 crore rupees, and 90% of the assets, they will be in the equity share form. That's important. So out of this 90%, at least 60% should be invested in equity shares or those instruments which can be compulsorily converted into equity shares. What are the equity shares? Means a company is there, a particular money is invested there, so many stakeholders are there who are investing their monies. So their shares, they will be called equity, and these are the equity shares. And after that, if they go for some public financing and all, then they will release their shares. So these shares will also be called equities. So that is the thing. And they will accept public funds also. So because these are systematically important companies, NBFCs. Next, infrastructural debt funding. You see, first of all, what is infrastructural debt fund? You see, when people invest in some kind of fund, then the money is given by many people, and this money is pooled, and then it is professionally managed, as the case with mutual fund. So these infrastructural debt fund is a kind of a fund only, and it is called debt because these companies, they have to repay it to the customers who had invested in this pool. So this is infrastructural debt fund. But the main thing is that these will be professionally managed and invested only into infrastructure structural sector. So that's important. And you see, IDF, these debt funds, they are set up in two forms. One is as a trust, which will be called a mutual fund, IDF mutual fund. And if these are these are established as companies, then these will be called IDF NBFCs. Okay, IDF NBFCs. So these are two important guidelines. Means they can be set up in two ways: mutual fund or NBFCs. So here our concern is with the IDF NBFC, and mainly in the PPP mode projects like public-private fund partnership projects like highways and dams and all. So there this money would be invested and professionally managed. and the asset and the net owned fund would be more than 300 crore rupees with the NBFC. So these are bigger ones and systematically very important ones. So many other complex requirements and regulations are also there, but those are not our concern. We are mainly reading these issues from the exam point of view. So only the categorization is important. One is a microfinance institution in NBFC. Like the banks have priority sector lending, these NBFCs are mainly categorized for the microfinancing institution. Like they are gonna fund or giving loans to these self-help groups or the poor people, weaker sections, in some cases where annual income is less than 60,000 rupees, and in the rural areas, and the income limit is 1,20,000 only in the urban areas. So if people are coming from the category below these numbers, then they will be given loans by these NBFC companies, or they will be financed by these companies. So they will be called NBFC microfinance institution. So it's a kind of a PSL like issue, priority sector lending like issue, which is there in banking. And without collateral means people they do not have to submit any kind of collateral in taking these loans. Okay, and the way we call it in Hindi, girvi rakhna. So they do not have to put something as a collateral, because these are poor people. They do not have anything like that. They have a dire need of money. So this small amount of money would be given by these companies. So next category, only the name you should remember here, non-banking finance company factors, because the complex details are not much important for us, but they may ask you about these categories of NBFCs, so that's important. Next, define Congress. Trump decides to sell arms to Saudi Arabia. You see the condition of Yemen today, and if somebody is looking at these conditions on a daily basis, but still their hearts, they do not melt, then what we can say about the humanity, in which way we are moving, what kind of leaders we are choosing in a way, and whom we are submitting our lives and our whole power which is lying with us. So you see the example, the burning example of Trump here. Trump is the leader chosen by some conservative people in America, and now see what is the condition. It has created many disturbances out of the Iran nuclear deal, and he says climate change is hoax, and he says TPP was a waste initiative. And in Yemen, what is going on? You see how these who are supported by Iran, who are a Shia group, they are fighting with Saudi Arabian forces, and Saudi Arabian forces are being given weapons and money by America. So America is supporting the crisis of Yemen in a way, indirectly. So the Congress there in America, it suggested and it passed a legislation that Trump should stop this support, and within 30 days it should stop all the help to Saudi Arabia, because this is the extreme level of poverty, malnutrition, and the crisis in this Yemen. The whole country is devastated, and it's a brink of end of its existence. You see most of the kids, more than 90% of the kids, they are malnutritioned, and you see the condition there. Nothing can be more what we can say, it's heart-wrenching situation there if you look at the pictures there, and this is very normal there. And you see alongside they are sending these peacekeeping missions and food products and all, but are they any help? No, they are not any help. The real help is stop this menace, stop these wars. But these countries, they only think about themselves. They are saying that they are legitimizing this issue, saying that we are stopping Iran there. Iran is very much aggressive country, but you see who is aggressive here. Yemen is devastated, and Saudi Arabia is attacking this country, and they are taking all the lives away from this land, and they are saying that we are fighting with Iran, and this is a legitimate war, and we will support our friend Saudi Arabia there. This is the argument given by Trump. What can be more unfortunate here? The devastation we are looking at, but they cannot decide about this issue. And it is not the Trump only, it is the case with most of the countries today. We are opting for these kind of leaders who are talking on the religious lines, maybe on rhetorical lines, national security issues, and they are talking about extremism. And you see, because the maximum number of people in this world, the so-called public, that has become so weak, because the weak person always is attracted from those kind of leaders who are talking about devastation, who are talking about thrashing someone, who are talking about rhetorics, who are talking about national security, and who are claiming themselves to be defenders against a particular enemy, and who are always showing a fear of enemies there. So those kind of leaders, they are much more influential for a weak public. and the weak public is the common thing in all these countries that we are looking at. And you see what kind of conditions they led to these kind of crises. The precursors are always when people become weak, people become psychologically influenced by these kind of leaders, and they talk in fanatical ways, and religiously they are very much provoked. Always they are talking in emotions. So these kind of conditions always lead to these kind of situations, because people are not thinking about situations thoroughly. They are not thinking about the real issues, and they are believing everything what their leaders say. This is the precursors. These are the precursors to these kind of crisis like situations. So that's unfortunate, and it is going on, and many more countries are about to see these kind of crises, because things are not changing and people are believing their great leaders, and they are giving them so much of power, enormous power, that there is no check, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So if the leader wants to become almighty, then we should be aware about those situations, that in future these will be the realities for that country, because a leader wants to become all powerful there. What is the need to become all powerful? Powerful should be people, powerful should be institutions, and there should be a balance, and collectively they will be the most powerful entity. But if a leader wants to become almighty and all powerful person, then it's the most dangerous precursor for crisis like situation in any country. But in Yemen we can see, and today they can legitimize anything, because media is theirs, data is with them, and they can show you anything which is not true, but they will call it true, and you will have to accept that, because they have all the powers with them. So this is the thing that we are observing. IASC, a particular institution in Bangalore, Indian Institute of Science, they have collected some samples, and they are proving some things, that some materials, they can be made as superconductors. What is the superconductivity? You see, when the electricity flows through a wire, then the wire becomes heated in a sense. Why? Because there is a resistance. So always there is some percentage of the resistance that stops the flowing, and that's why it is not 100% energy efficient, a medium. So if there is no resistance, there is zero resistance, then the material can be called as superconductor. And these kind of conditions are seen with some materials, but in very rare conditions, like very negative numbers of temperature, like hundreds of degrees Celsius in minus category. So there only they are showing these superconductivity features. But now I see scientists, they collected some samples, like they examined 125 samples, and out of them 10 showed a drop in resistance. Means there is a possibility that they can make some metals as superconductors. They created a nanofilm, and that was a platform of gold film, and silver particles were embedded into that, and that is how in this medium they could convert it into superconductor medium. And that's really a great innovation there, because if this is achieved, then we will achieve the 100% energy efficiency, and very less energy we will need in the future, because today because of the resistance factor, a lot of energy is wasted, and because it is lost in some ways, maybe heat or something like that. So if 100% energy efficiency can be achieved, then this world become very much eco-friendly, and we will need very less energies in our systems there. And it is also said here that if this becomes possible in a sense, then it will be the greatest discovery after the Raman effect. Okay, so read about Raman effect also. Next, about the Ramaphosa, I'm sorry, here it was the picture of Cyril Ramaphosa, and he has been sworn in as a South African president. About the South Africa, we can see this is South Africa, the southernmost country of country of African continent. Lesotho is a country, an enclave that is totally bound within the territories of South Africa. So Lesotho is there, Swaziland is also there, but it is touching the borders of Mozambique also. So it is not totally under South African territory, but certainly these both are landlocked countries. And South Africa, sometimes it is said that this is the only country in this world which is having three capitals. Pretoria is the main capital. Cape Town, it is also an important administrative unit there, so it is also called sometimes as a capital of it. And Bloemfontein, this is the third one. So three cities are said to be the capitals of South Africa, and they may shift it according to the time of the year. And Johannesburg and Kimberley, these are famous areas because of the production of diamond and gold. And one is Orange River. It is said that in the Orange River's riverbed we can find gold and diamond particles there, and this is flowing through this area where all these metals and all these components are found. Now the questions, some geography questions, and we will discuss as the time allows, and rest of the questions you can see there, because all the details are given there, all the answers are given there, and the PDF you will get on the Telegram channel and on my Facebook group there. So first of the question, Dwars. You see, these are floodplains in the northeastern part of India, mainly in the northern Assam and the northern West Bengal area. These were created with these rivers which were bringing alluvial soil in the geological past. You see, 6.5 crore years back, Himalaya rose to its heights, and it was an area of tectonic shift when the Indian plate that collided with the Eurasian plate there. So it was Indian plate, and this was Eurasian mainland, and it hit this particular mass. Both were continental plates, so there was no submergence, and the material that rose to its heights, and different parallel ranges were created. You see, in northernmost was the Karakoram range or the Trans-Himalayan range. Karakoram, Ladakh and Jaskar, all these ranges were there. After that, Greater Himalaya range is there. After that, Lesser Himalaya is there, and after that, Shivaliks are a consistent range. So here there is a gap, and these Dwars, which are floodplains, these are present there in northern Assam and northern West Bengal area. And Dwars, as we call it, because Dwars in Hindi are doors, so Dwars they can call it, and they are found here. Dunes like Dehradun, you can call it Dehradun as a dune valley, because these were unusually wide, like 30 kilometers wide longitudinal valleys, and they are present there between Shivaliks and Lesser Himalayas. You see, this is the Shivaliks and this is the Lesser Himalayas, and in between these are longitudinal valleys. So these are called dunes. So in the name of Dune Valley, the Dehradun is called there at the capital of Uttarakhand. So it is not south to Shivalik. This is wrong. First is correct. Okay. North of the Brahmaputra river basin, we find Dwars there, and between Lesser Himalayas and the Shivalik ranges, we find dunes. So these two important terms are always asked in the examination. So only one is the correct answer here. Dwars are named in Assamese, Bengalis, Mathilis, Bhojpuri, Magadhi, because in these areas they can have the knowledge of it. And you see, north to Dhansiri river. In the river basin of Dhansiri river, which is a tributary of Brahmaputra only, the northern tributary and the southern tributaries are there, and Dhansiri is an important river in Assam. So there they can be found here, and Dwars are floodplains, remember that, but dunes are valleys, longitudinal valleys. Okay, importantly, dunes are valleys. And you see, you can read whole text here, everything is given here, additional data is also given in this PDF, so PDF will be important. You see, these are parallel ranges, the Trans-Himalayas and then Greater Himalayas, then Lesser Himalayas. There is an abrupt rise of the Greater Himalaya range after Lesser Himalaya, so this is the picture. So you can see parallel ranges, and we are looking India, you can say from Afghanistan, so we will see these kind of ranges, parallel ranges. So this is Lesser Himalaya, and these are small particles of rocks and all, so these are called gravels. Smaller and bigger ones are there, Lesser Himalayas and Shivaliks, and these valleys are found here between Shivaliks and Himalayas. Okay, next, choose correct sequence of given continents in decreasing order of their percentage of the Earth's land. You see, mainly the land is present in the northern hemisphere. Asia is the biggest continent, as we know, if we talk about the percentage terms of the land area, but Asia is not given there. So next is Africa, and then North America, then South America, and then European Union there. Antarctica is not given, otherwise it is bigger than Europe there. So you can see Antarctica is also a continent, and the biggest one is Asia, then Africa, then North America, then South America, and this is Australia there. Europe is also very small. You see, Greenland it is not a continent, it is a world largest island. So they may ask you about that, and these are the areas mainly found in the northern hemisphere. sorry, the equator is this, so it is the northern hemisphere, and that's why the harsh winters or harsh summers are not there in Australia or in South Africa or in these countries. And because the reason is maximum area is the oceans, they can balance the heat there. Okay, Africa 20%, North America 16%, South America 10%. Biggest one is Asia, you can see. And these are important geopolitical regions. Greenland, the world largest island. Next question, the headquarters of their railway zones, because many railway zones are there. I think 19 are there right now. Please confirm it, I'm not sure about that, but I think 19 as they are there. And their particular headquarters. Northern Railway, it is there in Delhi. Northeastern Railway, it is there in Gorakhpur, UP, not in Guwahati. Eastern Railway, Sialda is correct. These are wrongs. And Southeastern Railway, Secunderabad. No, South Central is there in Secunderabad. Southeastern is there in Howrah in West Bengal. So this is wrong. And Central Railway is there in Mumbai, not in Bhopal. This is also wrong. So it is asking about the correct option. So only 3 is the correct option here. You can see the list here. Gorakhpur, Northeastern Railway, and Northeast Frontier Railway is there in Assam, Guwahati. So these are important ones. And Southeastern Railway is Howrah. South Central Railway is in Secunderabad. And these are important details. Okay, please go through these areas, very important details. These are the important cities, and it is asking about the west to east. You see Sacramento, which is there in California state in America. So westernmost would be the Sacramento. And here the Sharjah and Abidjan, these are given. So the Sharjah would be the easternmost here. Okay, you can see this is Sharjah here in the Gulf region. Abidjan is here in Africa. Caracas, capital of Venezuela. Quito is the capital of Ecuador and located north to Ecuador there. The equator there. Equator is passing through these countries. So that's why these countries would be very, very important. But these are important cities. So Sacramento is here. Okay, remember that. Next, regions of commercial dairy farming. You see in all these areas, dairy is a major industry. But in northern India, cattle, buffaloes, cows are there. But it's not a commercial dairy farming like all these countries. All these countries, all these geographical regions, they have ranches. Okay, ranches are bigger areas where these cattle, they have plenty of food and fodder for them. So bigger garden like areas, not like gardens, they are mainly called in English as ranches. Very huge areas, and mainly the fodder is grown in these areas. And like the northwestern Europe area where steppes is the vegetation, so the grasslands are huge. So these are called ranches. So they support the commercial dairy farming there. So these are the very advanced countries, and there is a huge difference in India's animal rearing and in these areas animal rearing. These are the leading countries in the milk products exports. So Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Northwestern Europe, Denmark like countries, these are the leading countries. So 2, 3, 4 would be the answer here. Okay, you can see these are the areas where all these ranches are present, and this is the geographical reason that these ranches are present here. These are the mainly temperate areas, and very much supportive of the commercial dairy farming because the fodder is available there. So that's why these industries and very much advanced machineries are available in these areas. These farmers, animal rearers are very rich in these areas. It is not like India where most of the homes they have a single cow or a buffalo. So it is not like there. And these animals, they are kept in air-conditioned rooms, and they are totally taken care of. All these medical facilities and all, totally supportive, and very high quality fodder is available. That's why the production level is too high if we compare it with Indian cattle and buffaloes, their milk production. So that is the case. And you see India is having 50% of buffaloes of the world, but the production is very less. New Zealand is the biggest exporter for the cow milk, so largest cow milk exporter. China is the biggest importer in this world. The European Union as a political economic union is the biggest one there. Okay, because most of the countries they are included in that, and that is the case. Next, major tobacco growing areas. You see, leaving Meghalaya, all these states, they are growing tobacco there, and the tobacco farmers issue is also very huge. It's a dilemma-like condition because tobacco is very much bad for the health. But after these campaigns regarding the tobacco and regarding the health initiative awareness issues, these farmers whose lives were dependent on the tobacco farming, they were devastated because it was a very much money earning commercial crop. But now many constraints are there. So Andhra Pradesh is the leading state where tobacco is grown, and if you talk about countries, then China is the leading producer and India is the second largest producer. The reason is that India has a lot of negative conditions for the tobacco farming. You see, very less rain-fed areas and semi-arid areas are there, but these are grown in the same areas, and that's why less production is there. Otherwise, the consumers are huge in India. These are the states where this is grown. In 13 states, the tobacco is grown. Central Tobacco Research Institute is there in Rajamundry, and FCB tobacco, that's a famous type of it, and that is very much remunerative, and it's a commercial crop there. Okay, and the period 7, 8 to 13, 14, the gross farmers earnings have almost doubled, but still the case is very much bad for small farmers. It is for the bigger farmers where all the advantages are there. Okay, and a variety of tobacco is grown in only 3 states in India: Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Telangana. And Telangana and Andhra Pradesh combinedly, they are having the biggest toll there. And you see, Indian Central Tobacco Committee established CTRI in 1947, and now the institute was under the administrative control of ICTC Madras, which was shifted to Delhi ICAR, the Council of Agricultural Research. So from Madras it was established there, but the CTRI is still there in Rajamundry. That's important. Next, these are the important cities of the world and what they are famous for. Pittsburgh is famous for iron and steel industry. That is correct. Perfectly correct. It is present there in Eastern American region, and Manchester is there in UK, a very important cotton textile and cotton industrial area since the Victorian times. And you see, they took raw material from India in the British colonial time, and they established all these cotton industries in the industrial revolution time in UK, and that's why Manchester became the most important area for cotton, and that's why we call Ahmedabad as Indian Manchester. Otherwise, the raw material was going from India only, but they produced this. They converted this cotton into the cotton fabric, and they exported it for whole world, and it was coming to India also. So this is how we were exploited, and Detroit is a very important area for automobile industry. The major 3 companies like General Motors and the other 2 names I will tell you, their headquarters are there in Detroit. Pittsburgh is here, and you can see a steel related business is very, very famous. Okay, Manchester is there in UK, and a very important textile manufacturing, and it was there during the Industrial Revolution. It was the major city which was the reason for Industrial Revolution, and it was called Cottonopolis and Warehouse City also in the Victorian era. And the big 3, General Motors, Ford and Chrysler, their headquarters are there in Detroit, USA. So that's why it's very, very important. Next, these are important questions. Please go through the slide. All the details are given, answers are given, and now I'm going to close the lesson now, because the scheduling is on for me, so I have some limitation of the time. So all the details are given here in these PDFs you will get on the Telegram channel and on my Facebook group. So you can send me a request, and all the details are given there. Thanks a lot. Keep watching. It was Amit Sani.